Welcome back to The Inspired Attorney. I'm Sharon V, and in part 2 of this episode, we continue our conversation with Eugene Pettis, who shares with us how he still strives to create balance in his life, and that is continually one of the greatest challenges that he faces. We also talk about how he created the successful firm that he has by nonstop work, but also finding the fine line between what is important in life and also creating the life that you want for yourself. We further talk about what he wishes for the future of the practice of law. If we were to look at your career, what would you say is one of the biggest challenges that you've encountered, and how did you respond to that challenge?
Good question. I've had a blessed journey. I think one of my biggest challenges is trying to do too much. I just think that the journey is quick. I'm now the age of people that I thought were really old when I started. I apologize to them each because they were not as old as I thought. But you know, time is short, and I have so many things that I want to do to impact my community, to lift others, and I take on a lot. And it's been my challenge. I thank God for the power to do it. And I think in part, it's what I'm supposed to do. It's my calling. It's my purpose. And it's, you know, when I was being interviewed for the bar, this journalist went back all the way to my University of Florida days and pulled out articles when I was treasurer of student body at Florida back in 81, 82. And I thought I had come up with some new stuff. I thought when I was president, I had some new ideas, but it showed I've been consistent. Articles written in 81 about me are exactly the same articles that are written today. I have the same points of interest. And I guess that's a good thing that I've been consistent. And I just think that in the years that I have left of practice, in the years that I have left on this earth, they're to be years of service to others. And I like making money as much as anyone else. I want nice things. I want nice cars, houses, and all of that. But there's a line there that I can identify better today than I could as a 24-year-old starting the practice of law, that it ain't all about those material things. You got to do something to make the journey meaningful. And nobody at the end, you know, I've been there when I'm with my mom and with my dad in those last days, those last hours, and nobody's talking about what type of car they had. Nobody's talking about how many billable hours as a lawyer you build in these years. Nobody gives a darn about any of that. It's the more meaningful things of life. So why not, if we can know those lessons through experience, why not bring those as the recipe to do with what we have time now? Let's not figure that out at the end. Let's use that as a guiding post and a guiding light now for those days that remain.
Incredible. So you started your own firm. I'm going to kind of apply the same kind of question here. One, why did you start your own firm, and what did you learn throughout that process?
I was with an excellent firm, Conrad, Shear & James, which was a dominant defense civil practice firm in 1985 when I joined them on May 1st. I had the fortune of working with an icon, Rex Conrad, who is a preeminent trial lawyer. I literally started on May 1st, 1985. I was in a trial for 3 weeks on day one. I had not even met all the lawyers in the firm. Rex said, I want you to be in trial with me. And I started day one in a brain damaged baby case. Didn't know what the hell was going on, but I was there at the table observing the highest level of trial. That kind of spoke to my career. I just had a really incredible rise at the firm and in my profession for opportunity to grow. And Rex retired in 1991 December, 6th year of my career. He retired, and 7 of us spun off from the firm. The firm split. 7 of us formed our own firm on January 1, 92. And I've been out on my own since then. Jim Haliczer, of my partner now, we've been together since my entire career, 35 years. We were with Rex. We left with some other partners for 4.5 years. And then Jim and I spun off to this firm on April 1st, 1996. And we've been here ever since. So I had some major opportunities. We all have certain opportunities in life. You got to be willing to take the lunge to take that opportunity. It's scary. It's sleepless nights. I'm on this lily pad. They're going to tell me I'm a partner next year. I can make, X amount of money. That's more money I've ever made in my life. Your brain is telling you, don't leap, don't go it, don't do it. But if you do that and play it safe, you can have a fruitful life, but you'll never know what your full potential is until you jump out trusting, believing, but you'll never know until you jump out on faith and do it. So I did that. And I remember the day. I remember it was like it was yesterday, the build up to it and the sleepless nights. And when we had to tell them we're leaving the firm and the disappointment that we're leaving, and I can't believe you're leaving. And I told them, you did what you thought was best for you and your family. And I'm doing what I think is best for me and my family. And I hope it works out. I hope we remain friends. This is what I have to do. And that faith of stepping out on what you've studied, prayed on, and believe is the right thing, you got to trust it. And if not, you'll never, ever know your capabilities. And it's good when you step out like that because it stretches you. You get comfortable being in the same setting, but when you stretch yourself, you identify muscles that you've never had before, and it makes you a stronger person, makes you rise to new levels. So I've always tried to stretch to new opportunities, to challenge myself each and every year to new opportunities, to do what I do better, to reach more people. And that's what I learned, and it crystallized in making that decision. And I've never looked back. It was the greatest decision professionally that I've ever made. And it was the platform for what's subsequently turned out to be a very, very blessed career.
Incredible. What would you say to someone who had just started their own firm and they're sitting in that moment where they're just a bit overwhelmed and they're wondering, was this the right decision?
You're always going to have that. Was this the right decision? If not, you've kept yourself in a very safe place. You have to, you have to recognize a few things. Number one, success doesn't come overnight. Number two, you're going to have to knock on a lot of doors in order to find winners. What you see out there, and I was just speaking what I spoke to the virtual graduation class about yesterday, was about the Michael Jordan ESPN documentary on The Last Dance. And I was telling them that if all you saw was his incredible athletic talent, you've missed the real message from my vantage point to his story. The story is he was able to do that because what he did behind the scenes. And that's applicable to all of us. You're not going to achieve the greatness, the success you want unless you're willing to put the time in, theoretically, in the gym. Put the time in networking, put the time in studying, put the time in becoming a better practitioner in whatever your area of focus is. Distinguishing yourself. How do I distinguish myself? How do I get out of the fact that we get 3,000 lawyers a year or so added on to our worlds? You're one of 3,000. You become one of 108,000 lawyers. That's a lot of lawyers. A lot of lawyers. How do I rise to the top? Well, you do it because you get out there and you grind every day. It's not a 9 to 5 grind. 9 to 5 ain't going to get you to the Michael Jordan level. 9 to 5 is not going to cut it. So you can't want this, but you only want to put in that. You got to be willing to put the time in, and it's nonstop effort. It's networking, every angle, every opportunity, letting people know where you are and finding out how to be a better you, finding out how to brand yourself better, finding out, how to study. It's easier now than ever because so much is online. You can listen if you want to. I'm just picking an example. If you want to learn how to be a better appellate lawyer, listen in on some appellate oral arguments. They're online. Learn from the greats of your community across the state. Study them. Call them up. Hey, I'm Eugene Pettis. I'm a young lawyer. I aspire to be. All the person can tell you is, hell no, hang up on you, or say, I'll give you 15 minutes. If they close the door, call another one. Call another one. Follow up with them. Create your network. You create your network by the energy you bring to opportunities. And therefore, to the young lawyer, you have to have patience. Nothing's built overnight. You're going to have some successes and you're going to have a lot of failures. But every single person that we see as great in any profession had countless failures before they got it right. When they get it right, that's all we remember. But they had so many failures. Being in the gym, sticking with the Michael Jordan, the shots, the weightlifting. We have to do the same things. We have to lift the weights to get out there and let people know that you want to be in the game. And I did that as early as I could. I was at the Broward County Bar telling them, I want to be on a committee. I want to get out there and get involved. And I met people, and I met more people, and I met more people. And it just starts having a cascading effect on your life. And while you've done a lot of things for the purpose of good, not expecting a return, it all becomes strings to the fabric of life. And the more you do, the clearer the picture is. And you weave a beautiful picture at the end of your career. All these loose strings of getting out there and hustling and grinding and doing and helping. All of a sudden, you've met somebody who knows somebody. And that person introduced, and now it's all working for good. And that's what you have to understand. That's what you have to commit to. And I think the recipe is as clear as day how to do it, because most people are not willing to do that. So you get past 75% of the people right there, because they ain't gonna do it. They wanna cut off at 5 o'clock and go be with their friends. So if you're willing to go beyond, you're already gonna be ahead in time of most people. Now you're competing with the top of the tier of the pyramid, and now you just continue that hard work and continue that relentless study and that relentless effort. And that distinguishes a career. It distinguishes an individual. It distinguishes a life in any industry, in any environment you want. That's the difference maker. That's my message to anyone starting off their practice. You got to be willing to commit at that level. And if you are, I started with no clients. When I left that firm, we had a huge amount of cases that we had inherited from Rex Conrad, but I didn't have any clients that I could call my own. One at a time, calling people, meeting people, networking, reading. I've read magazines and see somebody's a CEO of a huge restaurant chain. I want to meet that person. I start calling people. Does anybody know this person? And you find someone to say, I do, and I'll introduce you to them. I go cold to meet them. Biggest restaurant chain in the world. And it didn't just happen. It happened because I pursued it. And and you just start moving and connecting with people till you find someone that I want to meet this person. And if I can just meet them, I think I can impress them. And again, you never know. you don't always hit 1,000, but a batting average of 300 ain't bad. You just have to be willing to let me make 10 calls, and if I pick up 2 or 3 of them, that's all you need.
Exactly. Every step is one step further than you were before.
Exactly.
What kind of materials do you use other than CLEs to stay sharp? Or is there any specific books that made an impact on your life that you would recommend to your peers?
You know, I don't have any. I'm a reader of a motivational type reading. I love motivation, and again, it's available today easier than ever before on YouTube, and you know you can get it at your fingertips on your iPhone. So I like getting energized. So I listen to a lot of motivation from a number of the greats. I think connecting with people is still a great life's lesson. Finding out who the people are that you would like to emulate. Can you meet them? You learn just invaluable lessons from being in their midst. How do they carry themselves? How do they dress? How do they speak? All the things that you want to try to observe, because we come out as awkward little young folks from law schools, and now you're in a very competitive game. So you've got to have some mentors that you can observe, and they could be your real mentors, or they could just be people you're stalking. And you're just observing them, and they don't even know you're observing them, but you like their style. So you're observing them. But I think connecting to people, and I always encourage young folks to not be afraid of asking, can you give 15 minutes of your time? You called me. You had a 50-50 shot when you communicated with me. I could have responded, good luck, but I don't have time. Could do as I did. I would love to be a part of your success and lifting up other lawyers. And while it takes an hour of your time, it could have amplification of so broad to touch other people and amplify the message that I love amplifying to so many people through your efforts with your Zoomcasts.
Well, I really appreciate that you said yes and that you're here spreading the good word.
Absolutely.
Do you have any wishes for the future of the practice of law?
That's a beautiful question. I believe we should not take for granted that the pillars of our democracy, which largely were crafted by lawyers and are protected by lawyers, are automatically going to be there no matter what. We're a very young country. You go around to China and Japan and around the world where you see countries that have been there for thousands of years. And then we look at our country, we're little kids compared to those countries. We're in such a vulnerable state of development. And I think lawyers should not lose what I think is our obligation to be a part of the greater community. It cannot be about our own desire for financial reward. That's important. But the greatness of this country was built on many of our leaders who were lawyers sacrificing personal gain for societal gain. And I hope that we would adhere to the creed of professionalism that we all acknowledge when we become lawyers, but rarely do we live up to some aspects of it. And one of the aspects that I've always highlighted was do public good. That's the role of a lawyer. That's the distinction between a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer, and so many other great professions. Nobody commits in their creed to do public good. And I pray that we refocus on that line of our creed of doing public good and do our little part in our little community, in our little area that we are, And if we as a profession commit to that, among all the other things, but commit to that, then I think our profession will be in great shape and stature and carrying out the torch of liberty that we are here to protect. If we don't, I have concerns, because I think that there are forces out there that don't want there to be guards to what has made us a great country, what has held corporate entities to be good corporate citizens. That's aggravating when you tell me I have to meet those OSHA standards. I want to cut straight to it, so my profit line is higher. We as the lawyers are supposed to be out there doing public good, as broad of a term as that phrase can dictate. And that's what I hope our future entails. The next generation not losing sight on those pillars of our society and recognize the importance of the role they play in defending those important pillars of our society.
Incredible. As we close this out, I have one final question for you, and that is, when you're gone, what is one thing that you want to be remembered as?
That I participated on your Zoomcast. I've not given that any thought. I live my life as I hope to be remembered. I'm a people's person. I truly hold close to my heart public good. I've won a lot of cases. I've made a lot of money, and I hope to win a lot more, and I hope to get a lot more money. But there's nothing more lifting to me to touch the face of humanity through my deeds. And that's just making the world a better place than I found it. I live that as deep in my being as I can. And I will use all of my days and all of my power to live that life. And at the end of that, I've done what I thought was good. And I'll allow society to define it however they choose. But I will be at peace in my heart at that time that I've done what I thought my calling was.
I think we all feel that. Eugene, thank you so much for being a part of this episode of The Inspired Attorney.
It's been my pleasure.
Thank you for watching. Please drop your key insights and takeaways into the comments below. Would love to hear what you got out of this conversation and have you share that with the community. Also, subscribe to my channel or follow me so you can be notified when the next episode of The Inspired Attorney is released. And as always, if you are seeking further strategic guidance, do not hesitate to reach out to me. I am a resource for you, and I'm here to help you strategically pivot and start loving what you do again. So utilize the link that I've inserted in the information below to book a call with me. So I'm looking forward to speaking with you, and I will see you on the next episode.